Hello. Long time no see. This is about, yes, it's midnight. I've got my nightie on. I suddenly thought I've got to do a video. I want to fix. My camera went down actually a month ago, and my friend that helps me with these things, he couldn't come out, and I thought, no, I've got to let it go. It felt to me like a message from spirit, and I'm learning that when things happen unexpectedly like that, you haven't got to fight it. You just got to go with the flow. I had done a video actually. It lasted a couple of days. Someone did say thank you for it. It was a very, 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 very powerful video about saying no, not only on this plane but on other planes. And I think somebody got upset, and I was under psychic attack for quite a few days. So I left it for a month, which is now I've got a new camera. It's quite nice, isn't it? Not a new me, unfortunately. I've got the last month has been absolutely hell on earth. I won't go into it because I know we've all got our stories. But the thing is, I keep saying, look, I'm an old lady. You can't, as Joshua said, put old wine, new wine into old bottles. And I'm an old bottle. And it's really caused me a lot of stress, a lot of illness. I'm now housebound. I can only walk a few steps at a time. There's something strange going on. I don't know what it is. I'm just having to flow with the flow, not fight anything. The thing is, of course, in life you have to do things. I've got someone that can drive me places, but no one that can push me. So I'm struggling with the stick, and I'm not going down the road of wheelchairs and buggies. I do think I'll come out of this eventually. So the story today, I had several stories you could imagine in a whole month, but I just keep getting the feeling to tell this one, which may not be all that positive. I don't think we should try to be positive all the time. I really have got this feeling that sometimes a story that's got a little bit of negative in it, a little bit of drama, might help somebody who's going through the same thing. It's no good pretending that these difficult things don't exist. I know we are all struggling to be in the light, but for me, this is my personal thing. As a Taurian and had one very, very difficult life, my job is to pass on experiences sometimes and what you can learn from them. That's I think how I see things. It's not to be brightness and light all the time. You have to, when you're here, face the struggles. Because that's why we learn them. And I'm beginning to realise this illness. I had a breakthrough the other day that I was struggling to try and get well. I'm pretty good at getting well, but I'd lost it. I thought I can't. And the thought came to me, just accept it. And that's hard for me to accept illness because I do believe that God is health. We are meant to be health. But this is something maybe I had to accept. And the minute I accepted it, I began to get more help. So psychologically, that's, if you get stuck, really stuck, just okay, I'll do it. And of course, yes, you said that, didn't he, at the crucifixion? He accepted, not my will, but thy will. And it was like that with me. I said, okay, not my will, but thy will, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. It's something you've got planned for me and I have to do it. So this story, I'll try and keep it brief because it is quite a long story. It may have to go to 2 videos, I don't know. But I went to an astrological seminar in Switzerland. Now, I used to be very good at astrology and I loved it. I really loved it. And I used to go all over to meetings and so forth, and I was never very good at flying. Well, I'd never done it before, and I was quite frightened of getting in this plane. It's only across away from here to Switzerland, and I had a breakthrough on the plane because it began to do funny things. And I had an uncle who was a Spitfire pilot, and he said, "Don't worry, it's latitude." So again, you do really get worried about something. So I got to the seminar. No, I didn't. I landed in Zurich to start with. Because I was going to go on to the seminar the next day, tickets and stuff. So I landed in Zurich, no suitcase, managed to find it eventually, and I had to then find a bed and breakfast, and I was told you could find these little kiosks on the station and they will find you somewhere. Well, they didn't find me somewhere, and I had to trundle all along the streets carrying this suitcase with its wheels, people sitting outside having coffees looking at me. Anyway, I did find somewhere, and that's the first time I had tried a duvet, a big fat duvet. I'd never had them before, this is going back some years, and it was quite an adventure to start with. So I slept all right, and next day I had a boat trip all through the lakes. That was see the mountains covered in snow, all through the lakes. So that was the next thing. And I had to get a train from the station to the local place called Salmon. It was in the hills somewhere where the seminar was being held, and it was great, absolutely great. I went out for a meal that evening, I think, and I got talking to some very strange people, and I did think they were like from a past life of some sort, so I kept away from them. But when I got to the actual seminar, the people were lovely. You know, we did the usual thing, various charts and chats and meditations, and it all seemed to go fine until I had a reading from a fellow astrologer. We agreed to swap. I was going to give him a back massage and he was going to give me a reading. And all was fine until he said, well, of course your mother didn't want you. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Well, you probably can't imagine for someone to tell you that. And it's one of my, I didn't know it was, but it was one of my things I battle with. Nobody wants me stuff. And he said, your mother didn't want you. And I crashed. I literally crashed. I don't know. I felt so ill. It's silly, but anyone who has been told such negative news would understand what I'm saying. So I had to retire to my bed, and a very nice lady, she was actually a nun, that's right, she was a nun, and she sat by my bed all day to try and help me because I was in such a state, and it lasted about the following day, I think. And so everyone was very kind. Of course, this chap should never have said that. Any therapist would know you just don't tell people, even if it's true, but of course he didn't know. But you just don't tell people weird things like that. It's just not kosher. It's not integrity. It's not done. So anyway, I came through that, and this girl, then she said to me, well, I'll pre-arrange your flight so you can get the same one as me, and I'll take you back to England. And she was very sweet. But again, when people make decisions for me, I get in it, I don't understand what it's all about, but she was very sweet, and she changed the flight, and we got back to England, and somebody, this is where it all goes very haywire. Somebody offered to take me into her house for that night so I could get the next train back to my place in Bristol where I used to live. And I was like going along with all this because, you know, when someone's being helpful, you do sort of go along with it. And I thought it was okay to do it. So she took me back to her home very kindly and put me to bed and whatever. And then she disappeared. You see, you take offers of help that often turn out a lot worse than leaving you to your own devices. This help was being almost like, I felt a bit out of control, to be honest. So she disappeared. So I'm just going into town, left me in this strange place, a strange house with nobody there in this crisis, and she just disappeared. I thought I was going to die. I've never felt so peculiar in all my life. I couldn't go anywhere. I hadn't got my car. I was totally out of control in a strange woman's house, not knowing what to do next. And she did later on in the afternoon or something. So she got me. Did she get me? No, I think I tried to ring I was married then. And I rang my husband, and I said, "Do you think you could pick me up? Come on the train to wherever, I forget where it was, pick me up because I'm frightened. I don't know how I'm going to get home. I was in such a state." Anyway, he did. He was quite good at times, and he took me back to Bristol where I sort of slept for the week, I think. I don't know. But it's such an odd thing because that happened, oh gosh, 40 years ago. It must be, and it's still fresh in my mind. And I've been going through a lot lately. You know, nobody wants me. You know, I don't know if anybody else feels that. Well, nobody does. It's not and I haven't got anybody. My daughter, which is another story, I'll have to go into another video. My daughter, she knows, not around for me. She's abandoned me. I don't have really any friends or family, so I am really totally. I think one of the chaps on the internet says you're chosen one. You have to be on your own. Well, I don't know. I know there are advantages, but I've been on my own for 10 years. I think that's rather a long time. Incarcerated, really, in this bungalow, and I'm okay with it. But it's just sometimes, like Christmases, and you know, when you've got a crisis, you want someone to be there for you. Anyway, I got back home, and things went on for a few more years, 40 more years actually, until my mum was about to die, and I think it was only 10 years ago, I suppose now. I can't, not very long ago anyway. And I was into all the stuff, you know. And then she lived in Bristol, and I went to see her, and I think my sister was there. I can't remember the details. It was a little bit hazy, but I knew my mum wasn't well. She was on the way out, and I went to see her, and it felt very strange. And we were just, I forget what we were doing. I couldn't get to Bristol very often. My sister was closer, and so she was sort of taking over the role of caregiver, if you know what I mean. So we were in this room together, all of us, and I said something to be helpful, and my mother looked at me. She said, "I don't want you, I want your sister." I still can't. I mean, she wasn't well. I could make excuses for her, and I think my sister had become the carer, and and I think looking back over the years, I think my mum did always often prefer my sister. They got their animal personality. There was more there for. I don't think my mum ever really liked me. I know she loved me, but there were certain issues, and I can think of them like I don't want to, that come up. I think, hang on a minute. I think it was only a few years ago when she was still alive that one of my members of the family sent some Christmas cards, and I had a little grumble. Why was it such a mean little Christmas card? My mother looked at me. "You're lucky to get that, my girl." And this is how she still spoke to me only a few years ago. This is not really a sob story. It's just saying, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling unwanted for lots of reasons. And it is hard to take that because I don't think many of us do love ourselves enough to overcome it. I mean, I found it very difficult. And so ultimately, I suppose, the lesson is, does it matter? You know, I think Kaylee Brown talks about children and parents who are they? They're just people. They're just people. They have a child, and I mean, I keep thinking, what's happening down here? Is something coming and going down the bottom here? Oh. One of these little notes that pops up avast. Oh, they pop up every 2 minutes telling me to do something. So anyway, I forgot where I was. So yeah, it's just a question of you have to love and accept yourself because that's all there is. You can't depend on anyone outside of yourself to give you the love you want or the acceptance you want. You know, we do try. In fact, Maharaji, my spiritual master, was doing a video today all about this kind of thing and how you just can't depend on anyone for loving kind. You know, you get it, but you can't depend on it because ultimately you have to find it within. And I think that's my struggle at the moment, especially when I haven't got anybody. You have to, you somehow, I think for me it's like each step is taking me further and further and further inward and I'm covering all this. I said to God today, I feel like a boiled sweet. All the hard outside, the crunch is going and I'm coming to the soft centre. So these teeth, the video I'm doing is to say it might not be anymore because I got one tooth here that doesn't need. He said, "Oh, well, this chap, £200 to take a tooth out. He quoted me £2,000 for treatment, all the stuff that needs doing." Well, that's not possible. £200 might be, but then he said the one next to us got to come out, and I thought that's gonna see. That's going to leave a gap. I don't want to, well, I can't afford dentures, and I don't think I could sit here doing videos with a great gap in my teeth. I don't want to look like a bag lady. I mean, I may look old and wrinkled, but I don't want to look like a bag lady. So if I don't do any more videos, that's the reason. That's probably have to come out. There may be a solution. I'm asking God for a solution. I think you can get implants, but they are very expensive as well. So, and of course, I'm an old lady. I mean, things go. St.Germain said in one of his plays, when you get older, sans teeth, sans hair, sans everything. It means you lose everything. You do. I mean, I'm coping fairly well. People think I'm 10 years younger than I am, which is lovely. I'm coping quite well, but it comes to the point you say, yes, I'm an old lady, you're going to lose everything. Your hair's falling out, your teeth falling out. I'm sorry to sound a bit negative, but that's the way I am at the moment, and it's very hard to keep pace when you haven't got anyone in your life to cheer you up. So anyway, darlings, I know you'd cheer me up if you could, so I hope you've enjoyed that video. I'm still here, still smiling. I've got a cleaning lady now who comes once a week, and she's very sweet, and she does a bit of cleaning for me. So I've got a new lavatory seat that helps me get down a bit better. I got something over the bath. Oh my lord! I did try to do a video on old age, but nobody watched it. I had to think about 2 views or something. Oh dear, that was a disaster. So I took that one down. But it is a different life, and it's very funny at times. It really is, because everyone assumes because you're a certain age you're going to have to wheelchair or do that. They show pictures on television of old people shuffling in slippers. And then lots of adverts for funerals and lots of adverts for stair lifts and all sorts of things. I thought, oh Lord, this is afternoon television. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go now. I'm going to have a cup of coffee and go back to bed. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, won't you? Nobody seems to. I had a lovely lady last time who thanked me for my time, and I don't charge for these things. It's all my time and energy, and it would be nice to have a little bit more of a responsibility. Okay.